I want to talk about the scariest experience I've ever had in my entire life. It really happened, but when I write it down like this, it doesn't seem all that scary, does it? Maybe that's just because I'm not very good at writing. But I'll write it anyway. This happened more than 10 years ago, back when I was a student in Tokyo. I'm originally from a pretty rural area, but I had a few close friends there. And whenever we had breaks from school, I'd go back to my hometown to drink until morning, hit on girls, go to group dates, and just have a good time. It was during one of those summer vacations. One night, as usual, I was out partying with my friends. We'd picked up some girls, gone to karaoke, and had a great time. But when karaoke was over, the girls went home, saying they had part-time jobs the next day. So we were bored, and somebody said, "Hey, how about a test of courage or something?" Then we decided we'd go to this old, abandoned vacation house up in the mountains. If you ask me now, I'd never bother going. I mean, what fun is a test of courage with just guys anyway? But back then, I'd just gotten my license, and everything was exciting. That vacation house has since been demolished, but around my hometown, it was pretty famous. There were all sorts of rumors, like someone was murdered there, or a woman would peek in the windows at night. Honestly, I didn't really know what had happened there at all. And since I had 4 friends coming with me, I felt pretty confident. It was my first time going, so I guess I was more excited than scared. We'd spent quite a while at karaoke, so by the time we arrived, it was already past midnight. When we got there, I thought, why the hell is there a vacation house in such a remote place? There was nothing around. We tried turning off the car's headlights and it was pitch black. I was like, so this is what pure darkness looks like. I was super freaked out, but since I had my buddies with me, we decided to check out the inside of that abandoned place. So we busted through a barricade and went in. Inside, the air was full of dust and mold, broken glass was scattered everywhere, and it had a really eerie vibe. Apparently biker gang punks sometimes came here too, because there were spray-painted messages like "so-and-so was here," which also creeped me out. Still, I'm not much of a fighter, but among my friends there were guys who did martial arts and had really bold personalities. So I figured that unless a huge group attacked us, we'd probably manage somehow. Luckily, we didn't run into any biker gangs that night. We spent some time exploring the abandoned place, rummaging around and even breaking a few things for fun. But eventually we got bored and went back to the car. While we were getting back in, the driver happened to shut his door in such a way that his elbow hit the door lock, and it locked all the doors. I was in the passenger seat, so I saw it happen. It really was just an accident. After that, we stayed right there, started the engine, played some CDs, and talked. Before long, we saw a light coming from near the top of the mountain. It looked like another car. We all thought, what kind of car comes down from the mountain at this hour? And felt a bit uneasy. We'd been trespassing and messing around, so we did think about trying to run away. But there was this vibe in the car, like nobody wanted to act scared in front of the others and lose face. So for some reason, not one of us suggested we make a run for it. And then, before we knew it, that car came right up in front of us. Sure, it was a single road, so of course it would come this way, but it turned out to be a taxi. We wondered, what's a taxi doing out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night? Then that taxi stopped maybe a few dozen meters behind us. 2 people got out of the back seat, and the taxi just drove off past our car. Seeing people step out, we thought, oh crap, maybe the owner of the property is here? Those 2 stood there looking our way for a bit, and then they started slowly walking toward us. What's more, one of them seemed to be a woman wearing a bright red dress. The other was clearly a man in a suit. I couldn't tell their ages at all, but I guess they were maybe around 40. It was dark so I couldn't see their faces well. We were all just sort of dumbfounded by the strangeness of the situation. While we stood there frozen, they came right up close to the car. And the man went around to the driver's side, the woman to the passenger side. And they suddenly grabbed the door handles and started rattling them like crazy, trying to get into the car. We all freaked out, hair standing on end. This was bad. Like I said before, the doors were locked by sheer coincidence, so they couldn't open them. But these 2 didn't care, they just kept yanking on the handles really hard. We were terrified. The whole car was shaking violently. Somebody came to their senses and yelled, "Step on it." So the driver immediately hit the gas. Holy crap, this is terrifying. Inside the car, we were all screaming. Before I knew it, everyone was crying out of fear. We parked at a nearby family restaurant and started freaking out. What the hell was that? I was glad my friends were a bunch of idiots in a good way, and could laugh about it. It really helped. We were going like, who was the most teary-eyed out of all of us? And people were saying, it wasn't me. Or you were the one freaking out the most. I hadn't gotten all that teary-eyed myself, so they didn't give me too much crap. After we calmed down a bit, I asked my friend who did martial arts, the big tough guy, why the hell didn't you go out there? He was the kind of guy who usually would. By the way, he was the one driving. He sipped his drink and said just one thing. I probably wouldn't stand a chance. Whoa, you're usually so full of confidence. Where'd that come from? Someone teased him. Then, getting a bit worked up, he answered. Dude, my car weighs over a ton, right? How can just pulling on the door handle shake the whole thing like that? Those two had ridiculous strength. And by the way, didn't any of you see their faces? Their eyes were nuts, man, no way could I get out of the car. They only had black in their eyes. There were no whites at all. There's no way they were human. None of us had gotten a good look at their faces, and hearing that hit us hard. He's not the type to lie. So, we ended up staying at that family restaurant until morning. I guess enough time has passed that I can say this, I didn't cry, but I did pee a little. It was the first time I realized that when you experience real terror, you can actually wet yourself.